Hi, I'm Dave Epstein. Welcome to Growing Wisdom, and today let's talk about African violets and primrose. Both plants flower. You want to care for them slightly differently. Let's start with the African violets. African violets come in a wide variety of colors and sizes. Look at these little mini guys I found. Now, of course, there's the bigger potted African violets as well. There's really three things you need to give African violets to keep them blooming all year long. Number one, they like a lower light condition. They don't like a lot of sun, so a north window is generally ideal. Number two, African violets like to be kept lightly moist. They don't like to be wet. That's important. If the African violet is wet, it will tend to rot the crown and the violet will die. So don't water it too much, but also don't let them completely dry out. I like to look at the African violet soil, and when the top begins to get a little bit dry, that's when I give it some water. You also want to water it from the bottom. So put it in a little tray or a dish like this, fill the tray with water, and let the roots wick the water up into the plant. That's all you need to do. You do not want to get the leaves wet, and you also want to keep that crown from getting wet. So by watering from the bottom, you'll accomplish that. The third thing is food. African violets like to have a little bit of food each time you water them. So you could use something like an African violet food, mix it in the water, keep your African violet food separate from your other houseplant food, and that's how they'll keep growing all season long. African violets, because they're tropical, don't like it very cold. So don't keep them near a drafty window or let them go below freezing, because that will also kill the plant. But in general, it's a relatively easy plant to care for. There are folks that have had their African violets for decades. Some have even been passed down for generations, so they aren't that difficult to grow. Let's move on to another one of my favorite flowering plants, the primrose. So the primrose is just a wonderful plant and comes in really a tremendous variety of colors, from blue to pink to yellow, variegated. And the great thing about primrose is that after you're done with them inside, you can plant them outside and they will come up the following year. So notice primrose have the wonderful green foliage and the spectacular flowers right in the middle. And I have many of these in my springtime garden. These plants are really an April or an early May bloomer in the colder zones, and then throughout the summer, you'll just get a lot of leaves. Eventually, the plant will go dormant for the summer and come back the following spring. A lot of places will sell these in late winter or early spring, so you can bring them inside, enjoy them for a couple of weeks to a couple of months, and then put them back outside in the garden. If you want to grow the primrose as a houseplant, it's fairly difficult. It can be done. Keep it evenly moist. You definitely want to keep them fed, and be aware they may go dormant during the summer, even in the house. The plant's not necessarily dead, it's just taking a rest. So the primrose and the African violet, two spectacular flowering plants, one of which can go outside and one which needs to stay inside. Thanks for watching this edition of Growing Wisdom. I'm Dave Epstein.